started from the bottom of the bottom. I didn't have a goddamn thing, bro.
Number 5. Stand up for what you know is right. Number 6 and 5 they could possibly be the same thing, but it's different because 6 was more about physical and 5 was more about stand up for what you believe in. When I was 14, I was very persuadable. I was very influenceable. I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but I was very I could be talked into shit. And I could be led to believe what I know is right isn't right. For example, like I said, how important exercise is. Somebody could possibly convince me that exercise isn't important. I think when I was 14, I wish I would have understood that I know what I know and I know what's right. I'll be open to opinions, but if you know something's right, don't let nobody sway your opinions. And if somebody want to fuck with you after you stand on your opinions, well, fuck them. You know what you know is right. It's better to be on the right path, your own journey alone, than on a wrong path or somebody else's path, doing what they say and what you know is wrong. Stand up for what you know is right, even if it means you're gonna be lonely. Stand up for what you're right, even if you're gonna be ostracized, because people respect you for being yourself. Yeah. And I also learned this. I learned this through just looking at people, like studying people, listening to Freeze Love. He said one thing that stuck with me was like, at one point in time as a man, you're gonna have to tell the whole world, even your mom and your dad, to say, fuck you, I'm doing this. And you might have to turn your back on the rest of the world to do what you know is right. But like I said, it's respectable. Learn this by following Tupac. As you can see, Tupac was a big influence on me when I was, dealing with my problems. So anyway, it's just countless motivational speakers. I can't think of any off the top of my head, but you stand up for what you know is right. And people will respect you for standing up for what you know is right, or they despise you, but as long as you know what you're doing is right, that's all that matters. Just, if you know exercises, working or whatever, do that. Give a fuck what other people think. If you're making a song and people don't agree with it or don't like it, I mean, you like it, so that's all that matters. Fuck what they talking about. I mean, it's your vision, it's your art. You stand up for what you know is right. And if everybody in the world doesn't agree, it doesn't matter. It's about how you feel inside. As long as you know you're doing what's right, that's all you can do. It's number 5. And that's how I learned it. I wish I knew that when I was 14. It would have helped me develop into a more general-like person, respectful person. Number 1 through 4 are the very important and potent things. Very important, very, very potent things that if only I knew when I was 14, it would have changed me completely. I would have probably never, had the problems with drugs I had. I probably wouldn't have been as jealous. I probably would have been, I don't know where I would have been, but I know I would have been on a more elevated path than I am now. I'm a more evolved person. 1 through 4, here we go. Number 4, you can achieve anything you want in this world. I'm not a motivational speaker. I want to say that. I'm not a motivational speaker by, by the classical sense. My purpose isn't necessarily to motivate you, it's to speak the truth, and the truth will motivate you because it's true. I'm not saying these things to make anybody feel good. I'm saying these because this is the reality. I have seen, I have learned, I have read, I have felt. You can achieve anything you want in this world. But there's a catch. The catch is you must know 2 things. For one, you must know that you can achieve anything in this world. If you're not aware that you can do whatever you want on this planet or in this world, then you can't. You gotta know that you can. I can't explain it. You gotta know that you can. And the other thing you gotta know is you just gotta work for it. If you know that you can achieve anything in this world, all you gotta do is do it.
Just do it!
I wish I would have knew this at 14 because I just wish I would have knew this at 14. That you can achieve anything you want. Maybe I wouldn't have aimed so low. When I was younger, I wanted to be a rapper. And if I knew this at 14, that all you had to do was work for it. All my life I wanted to be a rapper, but I never wrote songs that much. I never really recorded. It seems simple and a simple ideology, but a lot of people want a lot of things but don't work toward it. I want to be a person who gets paid to teach the knowledge and teach the things that I learned, and I want to share the information I learned. But it's been 2 or 3 weeks now when I haven't recorded one video. Nothing's gonna pop for me. I'm not gonna get farther when it comes to making these videos or teaching people unless I make the videos. If you're hungry, you're not gonna get food unless you walk to the fridge. People want things but don't want to work for it. It's like, and it's simple. All you gotta do is work for it. You're gonna achieve it one day. It's like, I think people know what they want but think it's a possibility they'll fail. I understand that it's not really a possibility. If you work for it, you're gonna achieve it. In my mind, I mean, and even if you die before you achieve it, goddamn it, you can you die chasing your goals. I learned that by studying celebrities like Charlamagne the God, Kevin Hart. It's like there's a couple things you need to know to achieve anything in this world. You gotta have knowledge. And you gotta be willing to apply that knowledge to get what you want. And you gotta know what you want. You gotta know what you want. You don't even necessarily gotta know how to get what you want. You just gotta know what you want and just put energy into. God damn, if you goddamn if someone dropped $1 million, like indiscriminately dropped $1 million in your town randomly, if you don't know where it's at, but you know what you're looking for, and if you search long enough, you'll find it. Maybe years, weeks, days, but you'll find it one day. That's how I like to look at this thing we call life. You can achieve anything you want, man. You just gotta go for it. Like, for real. I know for a fact if I continue with these videos, I could possibly, not even possibly, I could achieve moderate. No, you can't decide how much of a success you will have, but you can decide to be working toward a type of success. I'm not sure how much success or accolades or money or anything I can acquire from making these videos, but I know if I stay persistent, prove my quality of videos, and just, because I'm going to, without even trying, going to get better at making videos and things like that, just through trial and error. So I know I can achieve moderate success from what I'm doing. If I just stay persistent, it's not even a question in my mind. So yeah, so that's it. Number 3, just be yourself. When I was 14, just before I went to high school, I had switched schools. I was going to this one school, moved across town, and I was going to this other school. I made it a point to tell myself that I'm going to be popular when I go to this new school. I'm going to be liked. I made it a point to say that. And I go to school, and I act like a clown. I try my best to make people laugh, as uncomfortable as it made me feel. Because a part of me wants attention. A part of me wants to be noticed and always wanted to be popular. But a large part of me just I'm really reserved. I like staying to myself. And even when I would prefer to stay by myself or stay to myself, I would say things just to get attention. Do what I think other people would think is funny. I literally count how many times I made the class laugh a day. I literally do this. And one thing I learned is that people respect you for being yourself. Everything I ever wanted in terms of personality and friends, I would have achieved if I would have just been myself. Well, not necessarily anything I wanted, but any friends you achieve, you get being yourself. You can pretty much bet that they, like you for you if you're just being yourself, unless there's, money involved. But for the most part, people respect you for being yourself. They might not like you or want to be around you, but at least they can say, I know who he is. I know who that guy is. No one likes fake people or people who pretend to be someone else. You may pretend to be somebody else. You don't even know it. Have you ever laughed at a joke that you knew wasn't funny? It's like that's an example. Like, it's a poor example, but it is an example. It's just that I always looked at people like people that I thought was cool. Well, I need to be like them. But what makes them people cool is the fact that they're being themselves. You won't get far pretending, or you may even get far pretending to be somebody else, but you won't be happy. Be happy. I can assume. So I wish I knew at 14 to be myself. I probably wouldn't have had much friends, but I can be content in myself and know the friends that I do have like me for who I am. So at 14, I wish I would have knew that I should just be myself and people will gravitate toward me. Or if they don't understand that there's nothing wrong with me, then I like to read, I like to study, I like to play board games. Um, and there's nothing wrong with that. You know, something is wrong with the world, God damn it. But there's nothing wrong with it. So, and I learned this by, like I said, studying Tupac, Patrice O'Neal, uh, even my own cousins. Just looking at people I've always envied, and looking at their even finding the flaws in their personality, and seeing that they're still liked. People still like them, and they're not perfect, but they're being themselves. That's why people respect them. And nothing wrong with being introverted. Like, our society makes it seem like it's such a bad thing, or not normal, or something's wrong with you for being introverted. It's okay. Not everybody is a comedian. Not everybody can be. Sometimes you need an audience. What good is a goddamn stage performer if there's no audience? Sometimes we need introverted people. You know what I'm saying? To work behind the scenes, and that's okay. And I didn't understand it. I thought the only way to be was to be outspoken and loud, but that's not the case. You got to find solace and find comfort in just being yourself, and understand that there's a place for you too. And though people might not say it as much, people respect you just as much as they respect the next guy. They just come to you for different things. They may come to that guy to tell funny stories and shit like that, but they may come to you when they need a shoulder to cry on, or advice, and it's just as important, in my opinion. So I just wish I would have knew that people would like you, just be yourself. People will respect you, just be yourself. People can tell somebody faking, especially if they really is that. So I wish I would have just knew to be myself when I was younger. I would have been a more evolved version of myself. Because things grow over time. If I would have learned to be myself when I was young, I would have became a better myself over time, because I would have had practice or whatever. Yeah. Number 2. Yeah, it's getting deep now. Number 2 and number 1 can be switched. It can be they're so important. I wasn't sure which one to put as number 1 and number 2, but I ultimately decided on this order. So, but they're both, I think, equally as important. Number 1 just became number 1 because of something I'll explain. So number 2, I wish I would have knew at 14 the profound importance of obtaining knowledge. Basically, I wish I would have knew how important it was to study and gain knowledge. Now, number 2, this is so deep, because if I would have learned the importance of studying and gaining knowledge and reading, I may have well learned these things, everything other thing on this list, without even going through it. If I would have learned to study and read, I couldn't possibly learn all of these things without having to go through the traumatic experience I went through. I could have maybe read in a self-help book to be yourself. I could have learned, if I was reading, you know what I'm saying, Malcolm X or something like that, to stand up for what you know is right. I could have learned possibly all of these things if I would have knew to seek knowledge. I would have possibly learned how important exercise is by seeking knowledge. The knowledge is I possibly could have learned everything on this list, even number one, had I knew the importance of knowledge. Knowledge separates the kings from the peasants, you know, from those who achieve and those who do not. Of course, to achieve, you need more than information. You have to be able to apply the information, but at least having the information is a start. That's what separated. I use Tupac a lot in references. I'm going to continue to. That's what separates, you know, the Tupacs from the average street guy. He was raised in the streets like thousands of other guys. But what separated him was the knowledge that his mother instilled in him. He learned self-love. He learned how how the system was. He learned how important information was and how important reading and expanding your knowledge was. Had Tupac not had the intelligence, I admit he had charisma. He maybe would have been something regardless, but because of the knowledge, it separated him from other people. That goes, you know, several testimonies. If you follow enough celebrities' stories and read their books, you understand that what separated a lot of people from, you know, the herd is the intelligence they had, and the information that they had. The only reason why number one trumps number two is because had I not did number one, I probably wouldn't have even had time to study knowledge. So studying and gathering knowledge is so important. You don't know what you don't know what you don't know. A book or paragraph could change your life. I wish I could give you like an example, but you know how it is when you're thinking of something on the spot. It's just, information is so powerful. It's what separates, you know, man from animal. The ability to retain and apply new information. I would have told my 14-year-old self, I'll always be learning, I'll always be researching. Learn, study your health. Study how to read body language. Study how to rule a kingdom. Just study how to grow your own food. Learn how to grow your own food. Just in case, you know, something was to happen with the food supply, you need to be able to learn how to grow your own food. You need to learn not just practical things like that. Learn things about studying and acquire information for such things like maybe relationships. Learn how to communicate better in relationships. Learn that you shouldn't hold your feelings in. You need to express it. When I say learn, I mean learn about yourself, learn about the world, learn about other people. Always be trying to learn, be studying, and have an open mind. That'll take you farther than I think any other things on this list will. I learned this by, again, listening to comparing and contrasting Tupac, comparing and contrasting people who I deemed successful and people who were famous. I always saw they were always considered more intelligent than others. Learn that ignorant people are easy to rule, you know, when it comes to, you know, like religion and things like that. Religion and such things. It's you know, teach a man, well, give a man a fish, feed him for a day. Teach a man how to fish, feed him for life. That's what I mean when I say how important information is. I've learned through studying the importance of, like I said, persistence. How you can achieve anything. You just keep working. Eventually, whatever you're working towards, you're going to achieve in some sorts or whatever. That's just, I think that's how the universe works in energy. The more energy you have behind something, the more impactful it is. Okay, if I would have learned that at 14, that I should always acquire knowledge, like I said, I would have learned as far as health, possibly could have learned about the importance of exercise. I could have learned everything on this list through acquiring knowledge and searching for knowledge. Because after all, what I'm speaking is just knowledge. I would have had to learn all this stuff without having to go through my situation.
Thinking back to when the drugs got me. Many times I almost gave up.